The Republicans need to reopen the government now, but they can't do that if they won't come to the table and negotiate. 15 million Americans are going to lose their health care coverage, and tens of millions more are going to see their health insurance premiums go up. In fact, right now, the health insurance companies are posting the new numbers, and people are seeing their premiums double. Some are even seeing their premiums triple. We have a broken healthcare system, which the Republicans are now trying to smash into little tiny bits, and that's going to hurt people all across this country. It's time to get serious about rolling back the cuts that the Republicans have put in place and protecting people's access to health care.
The president alluded to having had some conversations with Democrats. Do you have any idea which your colleagues even possibly talking about?
Nope. I've checked around and not a single one says they've had a conversation with the President of the United States. Not one.
But Senator, if the House is not coming back and the Republicans say no negotiations and you guys are voting no every single time, how long is this going to go on for?
Well, you should start by asking why the House is not in session.
Well, because they want to they say pass the bill.
No.
Reopen the government 7 days.
The House already decided they're not going to be in session all this week. The House has decided that they are going to keep the government shut down at least for another week. They've told all their members to go home, stay home, don't even come to Washington to negotiate. And right now, the Republicans won't even come to the table to talk about rolling back health care cuts and protecting access to health care for 15 million Americans and for all the people who are getting their new insurance premium notices.
But couldn't you do that while the government is reopened for the next 6 weeks or so?
We asked the Republicans when they made these cuts back in July, all by themselves, with not a single Democratic vote, we asked them to sit down and negotiate. And we have asked repeatedly, can we talk about these health care cuts before the end of the fiscal year and before you destroy America's health care system? And the number of negotiations that have taken place while the government has been open has been exactly zero. The Republicans have refused to talk about it. So let's just be really clear here. The Republicans won't talk when the government is open. The Republicans won't talk when the government is closed. This is just not working. The Republicans would rather shut down government than help Americans afford their health care.
It's such an obvious thing. They are making healthcare. They would be making healthcare costs go up for Americans in January. Do you think Republicans who are vulnerable, who face tough races, recognize? To me, it seems like they are the ones who are going to push this to a deal.
I hope you are right, but understand, watch what's happening in the White House right now. Their response is what on health care? To lie about it, right? They say, no, the Democrats are trying to cover illegal aliens, as they call them. There's nothing in Medicaid. There is nothing in the Affordable Care Act. There is not a penny right now under law for any undocumented immigrant to get any help from those bills. And that stays exactly the same. So what else do? They shut down help for New York. Yesterday, the President of the United States said his plan is if the Democrats won't cave in on this, he's going to fire a whole lot more federal workers. The President of the United States said, I'm going to impose a lot more pain on my fellow American citizens. I'm going to impose a lot more pain on people in New York who need to use those tunnels, who need the upgraded water systems and better bridges. I'm going to impose pain on other Americans so I can get my way politically. To me, that is a place to stop and say, then we're ready to fight about this.
I pulled a Republican aside on the floor and I said, hey man, there's no cameras around here. I just want to understand. Like, I'm not here to put you on blast in front of a camera, just person to person. I genuinely want to understand, because people think that trying to understand another person means that you agree with them or that you're being soft on them. And it's a huge problem in this day and age, because that mentality really prevents people from being able to connect and persuade. But I pulled this guy aside and I said, hey man, like, I know that you represent a couple of rural hospitals. And this bill is going to devastate rural hospitals. I just want to know from your perspective, are you worried about that? What are you thinking about with your hospitals and your people? Because a lot of people don't know, like a ton of ACA recipients are in red states. A lot of Medicaid recipients are in red states. These are like Trump voters that are almost disproportionately, in many circumstances, being negatively affected. And so I said, like, walk me through how you see this. And he was like, yeah, I just don't believe it. He's like, I know that you guys need to make a big deal out of this to like score political points, but I just don't believe it. And I'm kind of sitting here like, this data shows that this bill is going to devastate a lot of people. But a lot of these folks just like don't believe that data. You know, there was one hospital in one of these districts that was like, yeah, we might have to close. And they are now on their back foot. Like, they thought this was just a Democratic talking point. And now that their own people are being affected and their own hospitals are warning them, they are now kind of low-key panicking.
Offered an opportunity to have a conversation. You said, hey, okay, let's debate what this is. Let's debate the healthcare challenges that we have. I want you to listen, if you could, to Mr. Johnson's response to your challenge to a House floor debate.
When the poll says that about 13% of the people approve of your messaging, then you make desperate pleas for attention, and that's what Hakeem Jeffries has done. We passed the bill in bipartisan fashion and sent it over to the Senate. The House has done its job. I'm not going to let Hakeem try to pretend for these theatrics. I mean, this is a Chuck Schumer decision. The ball is in the Senate's court now. The House has done this. We don't need to waste time on that nonsense. Those debates have been had. Colleague's a friend. I mean, Hakeem is a friend and a colleague. I respect him, but we all know what he's trying to do there.
What's your message to the American people tonight as you're standing locked out of the Congress, unable to do the people's business for over a week now, and you have this sort of, diatribe of noise from Republicans about how the Democrats, want to, give free health care to illegal immigrants when we know that's not true because that's not what the law will allow. And people are trying to figure out what they're going to do because, hey, next week is payday.
That's right.
And there's no check coming.
Well, fighting to lower the high cost of living and trying to protect the health care of the American people, that's not theatrics. That's actually what we should be doing as members of Congress to make life better for everyday Americans, as opposed to continuing these failed Republican policies and trying to gut the health care of the American people. I'm not sure what Mike Johnson was talking about, and it's not clear that he knew what he was talking about in terms of what he was saying at that particular point in time. The Republicans have enacted the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. We know that as a result of their refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, we've got tens of millions of Americans who are facing dramatically increased premiums, co-pays, and deductibles, including, in some places, a married couple that makes about $88,000 a year currently pays about $8,000 per year in health insurance. By the way, that's already too high. But as a result of Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, their health insurance could triple to $24,000 a year. That's unconscionable here in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Those aren't theatrics. Those are real issues. And Democrats in the House and Democrats in the Senate are continuing to hold the line.
Let me just ask you the big picture question here, which is that you have described, and we have seen in open reporting and on social media and even in exhibits filed with other people's lawsuits against these actions by the Trump administration, we have seen tactics against the people of Chicago that look very much like military tactics. Using Black Hawk helicopters, the apartment building that they ransacked, broke down all the doors, took all of the residents out of, the way that they've behaved on the street using military military-style vehicles and weapons in the faces of people on the streets of Chicago. That's before troops get there. And now Trump is saying that he wants to escalate further and put actual troops there. What do you think the goal is here? What do you think the risk is here to the country? And how do you think this is going to end?
Well, the broader goal, I believe, is the militarization of major American cities before the 2026 elections. Let me be clear about what's going on the streets of Chicago. They have dressed ICE and CBP in fatigues, put them in military gear, including with automatic weapons, and had them marching up and down major streets in downtown Chicago. It's a signal that they're trying to send that it's okay to have troops on your street, that this would be a welcome thing for people who live in Chicago. Nobody here welcomes it, by the way. I mean, literally, as they're walking down the street, people are yelling at them. But they think they can get people used to the idea. And next year, I fear that what they're going to do is deploy these folks eventually to polling places and say they're protecting the vote. Donald Trump knows that without shenanigans and without these breaches of the Constitution, that he's going to lose the Congress. And if he loses, he's going to immediately, in the aftermath of the election, do what he said he might do in 2020, which is use the military to confiscate the ballot boxes and count the votes, claiming that there's fraud. Remember, he's called up all 50 states' election data to the Department of Justice because they want to review all 50 states for fraud. And they won't tell you exactly what they're going to do, but I fear that these are all connected. And this militarization, even without National Guard or military troops on the ground, you're seeing ICE act like a militaristic organization. You're seeing CBP. Let me just say that the secretary doesn't know what she's talking about. She frankly says that people are clapping. They're not. They're booing her on the street, and they're booing ICE and CBP. They're marching, the CBP marching on a beautiful Sunday in Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago. They're raiding neighborhoods where instead of going after the bad guys, they're just picking up people who are brown and black and then checking their credentials. Are you a U.S. citizen? I don't know about you, but I don't carry around papers that say I'm a U.S. citizen. So you can imagine people are getting detained. They're getting arrested, U.S. citizens. And they did this, of course, when they raided a building in the middle of the night in South Shore. 130 people that were emptied out of this building. They were going after a few gang members, and instead they broke windows, they broke down doors, they ransacked the place, and there were people that were held, elderly people and children zip-tied. Elderly people held for 3 hours at a time. They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago. If they're not going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do, they need to get the heck out.
Instance in Chicago where reportedly helicopters were near the building that they raided, and they had people who were zip-tied, children who were zip-tied and led out into the streets naked. This is what's happening in America right now. And the travesty of it all is that we're living in a country where Republicans have spent the better part, if not the entire part of my life, claiming that they believed in limited government and states' rights. And here we have a government, the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, asking that their rights be respected, their states' rights be respected, that city rights be respected. And the Republicans say no, because they really don't care about those things after all. They care about using the spectacle of violence to create this show for Donald Trump.
I don't think there's a view that if you don't agree with a law, that you are entitled to break stuff, to assault police officers, to surround them with vehicles, to ram your car into them. And that's not even the problem. The problem is that there's a lot of Americans who believe those protesters are justified. That's the issue I think President Trump is trying to address with sending the National Guard.
Baloney.
No.
January 6th. We watched on January 6th when there was an insurrection at the United States Capitol and Donald Trump was the president of the United States. He did nothing. When people were attacking police officers, when there was an actual riot, when there were people who were doing everything they could, hang Mike Pence gallows outside of the Capitol building. And you're going to tell me that Donald Trump is concerned about safety? You said enough, Joe. What you're saying is inconsistent with the reality. The reality is that Donald Trump is selectively choosing reasons when he wants to deploy the National Guard.
We have some major news right now. ICE is turning Chicago into an active war zone, deploying military helicopters and using chemical agents against protesters in Chicago. This is a very serious situation, and it's only getting worse with each passing day. We knew that they stormed the apartment complex last week using Black Hawk helicopters. We're now learning, according to the Associated Press, that they're actively firing tear gas and smoke grenades, making it look like a war zone, according to Governor J.B. Pritzker, using these chemical agents against American citizens. More than 1,000 immigrants have been arrested in Chicago since Operation Midway Blitz has begun. And here's the thing, whether or not Trump deploys the National Guard or the military on the ground in Chicago, the military tactics are already being used by ICE. Military equipment is already being used by ICE. People need to know what's happening on the ground. Spread the word.
When Congress flips blue in 2027, we're going to lock every one of these people up. They're going to be chanting, lock them up, because what we're going to do is we're going to demand an investigation, and we're going to subpoena every single person from the Trump admin. We're going to subpoena every single military ranking service member who followed illegal orders. Every single one of them. We're going to take them all down. Every governor from every state we're going to subpoena. And we are going to investigate every encrypted message, every text message, every email, every phone call. We are going to subpoena it all. And we are going to lock everyone up who committed a crime on behalf of Donald Trump. And I was following orders is not going to be a solid defense. When I get into Congress, one of the first things we're going to do as the 2027 Congress is we are going to investigate every single illegal thing that Donald Trump did. And he knows it. Which is why he's going to attempt to suppress voting in 2026, which is why he's going to send out the National Guard and the military to every Democratic voting section. To everywhere there is a major blue area, he is going to send out the National Guard. He's going to be checking IDs with the National Guard. Make sure your paperwork is on point. Make sure you are on point. Make sure you are squared away. Make sure you're not starting a fight in the voting lines, especially when you see something that doesn't go with your values. Because we need to vote. We need to get out. We need to vote. We need to take our country back. And guys, he's going to do everything within his power to make sure you can't get out and vote. So you need to be available and you need to be voting in 2026. My name's Kyle and I'm running for Congress in 2026 in the 2nd District of Connecticut. If you like my videos, please follow along. If you want to see these people locked up, please go to my website, kylegauk.com. You can donate, you can sign up for the free weekly newsletter, you can sign up to volunteer, or you can just shoot me a note. I respond to all of them. And as always, if you made it this far, thank you, I love you, and we'll definitely talk soon.
So, Congressman, you just tried to get Adelita Grijalva sworn in, and you were denied. Can you tell us what happened?
Yeah, they wouldn't recognize me, and they wouldn't acknowledge that I was even in the room, notwithstanding the fact that Republicans have sworn in 2 of their members during pro forma sessions. So, we just said the next time we're in session, swear in Representative-elect Grijalva, and they refuse to recognize me because this is a continuation of the Epstein cover-up. They are scared shitless of what's in those files, and they're doing everything they can to block us from having a vote, and it's disgusting.
Donald Trump actually said our new military will bring back new focus on fitness. I love the idea that Trump is lecturing these guys on fitness. I mean, if that isn't the fondue pot calling the kettle fat, I don't know what is. Listen up, generals. I want to make something very clear. The Pillsbury Dough president wants you to do Pilates. The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military. But
it's time for the Trucker John Livestream. Gonna be a good time. Oh yeah. Trucker John Livestream. Come along for a good time. It's a good time, good time, good time, good time. Trucker John Livestream. It's gonna be a good time. Gonna be the time of your life. Gonna talk some shit. Hush your mouth. Gonna talk a little smack. Gonna talk whatever comes of it. You're gonna always wanna come back. Well, yeah, it's the Trucker John Livestream. He's the biggest, baddest, funniest mother you've ever seen. Watch your mouth, he's headed south. Not even sure what that means, but if it's one thing I know, the Trucker John Livestream is the best thing you've ever seen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. Trucker John.
Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully this thing is working. I do hope so. Hello, 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 hello. All right, sounds like it's on. It's 9:33 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. We're looking at, right now, 70-something degrees, 70, I guess, and it's supposed to be 85 today on the high. I want to thank everybody for being here this morning. I see Paul Burrows was in first. I think Sandy was second. And then it skips down a bit. We do have a goal today. We got 5 super chat goal. I see that on there. I see Roxanne 79 here. And Owen. Hey, Owen, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. I do appreciate you. Owen says, so Trump admits Democratic policies help Americans while little r have only painful policies. Got it. 007 Kevin Troll Slayer is here. We got Nick Rich in the driver's lounge. Hey, Nick, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Jolie's here. Hey, Jolie. Hello, Jolie. Thank you so much for being here. Nola Garnes is here. Nola is here. I was just eating some donuts. Hope I don't have any chocolate. This portion of the show brought to you by Little Mini Donuts. You ever feel like you just need to fill the void in your heart? Pop in a few of these. That'll do the trick. All right, so that's the comedy, folks. Comedy, comedy, comedy. Now, there's Sandy. I see Sandy. Hello. Hey, Mr. Spock. Live long and doth prosperous. And let me fill this little void here real quick. Speaking of filling voids, don't forget about the protest, the big No Kings protest on October 18th. I did RSVP. I forget the name of the website, or I don't know if it's just nokings.org or whatever. But anyhow, if you want, you can go on there and you can like RSVP. Just I guess so they know how many people are coming or whatever, and you can find out where the nearest one is to where you live. I'm not sure if on there if you could create one your own, like your own one, if there's not one around you. I don't remember if they had that on there or not. The one here I found out it's going to be held right in front of New York. Again, that's a common area that they like to hold these little marches at, because there's sort of like wide, sidewalks, and bathrooms are easily accessible. for people who will do that. So it's going to be in front of New York, New York. I'm planning on going. Who knows? I might even bump into Hal Sparks because if you recall, they've done other marches and protests there before. That's where Hal was doing. He did some little videos from there. So you never know. Who knows? We might bump into each other as we're peacefully protesting against this this wannabe dictator that we have in the White House right now. All right, Falcor is here. Hey, Falcor's punching bag face that's what Falcor says. Punching bag face. Don't mind me. I'm eating a donut. Fancy's here. Hey, Fancy. Thanks for coming on by. I do appreciate you coming here and hanging out with us. The Soulcraft. Hey, it's Soulcraft. Hey, Soulcraft. Soulcraft says Trump keeps saying 0 border crossings. If they make it in successfully, they wouldn't know. What a dork. Falcor counters. There are still plenty of people making their way across the border. They're just paying extraordinarily high fees to do so. Yeah. Donald Trump did not magically bring the number down to 0. That's for sure. Honky Bucket is here. Hey, Honky Bucket. Come on down to the Honky Bucket. Get your biscuits and gravy down here at the Honey Bucket. White folks only. I'm hoping that at 10 o'clock I will be receiving a knock on the door or something. I ordered last night or yesterday. I ordered through Amazon these bug traps. I think Jolie had mentioned she was using these little traps. I don't know if it's the same ones or not, but I went ahead and ordered some because this apartment is totally infested with insects. Little cockroaches. Little cockroaches. I don't know if they're cockroaches, but they're roaches. And they're in the roach family. Put it that way. And I'm just totally inundated with them. It's just disgusting. I feel like moving out. Feel like moving out, but I really don't have the resources to just up and move right now. But this is disgusting. So I went to the office. I did ask if I could just set off one of those bug bombs, and she said, "Yeah, you can, if you want." But and she kind of was saying how if you do that, the bugs just hide. You got to like pack all your stuff or whatever. I don't know. She kind of then she suggested that she says what she gets at her house, and she says she doesn't have she says she doesn't have an insect problem anymore that she had, but she did, I guess. And she bought this Ortho home defense thing. It comes in a big thing, and you spray it. It's pretty much like what the pesticide guys come in, or what it looks like. And she recommended getting that. And I remember I had seen that. The same exact thing that she was talking about because she showed me on her phone. And I go, "Oh yeah, I've seen that. I was going to order that." She goes, "Yeah, get that because it really works." And so I ordered it, but then I canceled it because I thought, you know what? Wait, I forgot about I saw the traps on there or something. I don't know. I thought, wait, maybe I should try these instead. So I'm going to try the traps and see how that does. And then she also scheduled the the pesticide guy to come here to spray again. Apparently, I thought they were going to just come automatically every month, but apparently not, because she said they were just here last week or something. And I'm like, oh. Okay, well, I thought they were going to come into my place. She goes, no, I have to schedule it. So now, so I should be getting a pesticide guy sometime. I don't know. I don't even know. She said it could be the next week or two. So I'm going to get those little trap things. And hopefully it's supposed to be delivered today between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And I messed up because I could have gotten a 7 a.m. to something, but then I didn't do it because I thought, well, what if I'm not awake and I don't want the thing, because I'll just drop it off at the door and I was afraid someone would grab it, the package, or, which they probably wouldn't. But I wish I would have taken the earlier delivery window instead of the one that I got. Anyhow, it's just that's just my life. That's my life. I don't know. And I opened the cupboard just now to get my donuts. And on the bottom shelf of the cupboard, there was a bunch of these dead roaches. Like 3 or 4 dead roaches. And I was like, why are they dead? Because I didn't spray inside that cabinet. I don't believe. I sprayed in another cabinet over here because I saw one in this. There's like a different cabinet door. But over there where the food was at, I didn't spray in there. I didn't want to spray where the food is at. And there's like 3 or 4 dead little roaches, just tits up in there. And I don't know why those guys died. Unless they got sprayed at the neighbors and they came over here and died. I don't know. It's weird. It's gross. It's disgusting. It makes me not want to live here anymore. I was talking to my daughter and she was showing me there's a couple places there because I was like, I'd like to move there. They live up in the mountains in California, and there was a place probably it was a 1-bedroom, but it's probably not much bigger than this place I'm at now, for about the same amount, just a little bit higher in rent, almost the same amount. But the only thing is, there's no work there for me. Like here, I have the taxi job, and I need the extra. I need the work. That's the only thing. There's really no work up there that I could do. So otherwise, I would move up to Big Bear, man. Not that they don't have bugs in Big Bear, or worse. But if I'm going to be dealing with bugs, and possibly up there's probably rats and shit. I would at least rather do it in the beautiful mountains than in this dusty old hot desert that I've lived in my whole life. Big Hook, the Big Canucks here. National strike. January 1st, the Trucker John big dump. We're taking a big dump. Trucker John big dump on January 1st. Nick Rich says my triple bypass was covered completely 22 years, and all other medical treatments have been too. No additional charges for me. See, and you try to tell people here in the States, Nick, we try to tell people, by the way, hi, Nick, good to see you. Like wanting to go on Medicare for all or have a national health care, universal single payer, all that kind of shit. And then you say, you'll say, hey, the Canadians are doing it, and they seem to really like it. They seem to love it, and then they'll go, no, they hate it. You get on a waiting list. If you need a surgery, you get put on a waiting list for 6 months, or they'll, I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know what's anecdotal and what's not anecdotal. I have not, like, I guess, really looked at the data on that, but all you folks that come into the chat room here will say there's quite a few Canadians in here will just rave about the Canadian healthcare, and then of course the people down here that are against any type of Medicare for all, and will say, "Oh no, that's a crappy." So they come down here. The Canadians aren't coming down here for our health care because we're so much better. I have a feeling that they're full of shit, but I don't have facts to back that up. Basically, because I have not really looked it up, I guess. Twisted Nurse painting is here. Twisted Nurse Painting is here. Good to see you, Twisted Nurse Painting. I'm just going to call you TNP, if you don't mind, because it's just a hell of a lot easier and faster. So TNP is here. Michael McAndrews is here. Hey, Michael, good to see you. It says Trumpy's terrorism sucks. It does. Hey, Karen Ames. Hey, Karen, good to see you. Karen Ames says, I'm trying to wake up and have my first cup of coffee. This is probably a 20-minute-old post, so hopefully you've got your coffee. And if you do, cheers. Clink. We clink our cups. This is my morning coffee that I'm having right now. So I hope yours is better than mine. Nick Rich, never trust a fascist. I'm having a bit of a difficulty speaking this morning. I don't know why. Alton Gillespie is here. Hey, Alton, good to see you. Thanks for coming on into the old driver's lounge. Big Hook says, blue states withhold federal taxes and bankrupt the government. Trump is already burning the country down already. I people say that all the time, like in the chat rooms and stuff. I don't know if that's even possible. I mean, I don't know. Has anyone looked it up? Is it because we can just say stuff. We can say stuff all day long. We can do the waving of the magic and the invisible magic wand. We shall not pay this. We shall not send the money to the federal government. I don't know if that's even possible. Do you? Do you guys know? I don't know. I know there's someone in here smarter than me that could look it up. We say a lot of stuff like, we should get rid of the Electoral College. As though that's just, I'm just going to wave my hand and boom, Electoral College is now gone. It doesn't work that way, folks. It doesn't work that way. Things like that. This is why the expression, it would take an act of Congress. The reason that's an expression is because getting things through Congress is pretty difficult, usually. Or at least there's a big involved process. It isn't we just wave our little hands, wiggle our noses like Bewitched or whatever, and then poof. We shall not pay the federal government our taxes because I deem it so. Electoral College, poof, you are gone because I have deemed it so. It doesn't work that way, guys. Sometimes I wish it did, but then, it goes both ways. What if somebody else wiggles their nose? Somebody from the red team. They're wiggling their noses. And we don't like what they're wiggling about. MJ Daniels here from the Free State of Washington. Hello, MJ. Good to see you. TNP says, Trucker John, thank you, John. I don't have cable, and I stopped watching television. For the most part, these clips aren't something I would normally see. Well, there you go. I feel now I don't feel so bad about making these long ass clips. Hopefully, it's stuff that is interesting and informative and all that. Let's see here. Michael McAndrews, so Trumpy and Miller are against insurrections? Only in certain cases. Only in certain instances. Fancy says, I'll be lurking and working. Well, thank you, Fancy. I appreciate you just being here. Nick Rich Ice is idiots control everything. Gina Maynard says, this is why they cover their faces. We will never forget. If we do get power back, then those motherfuckers better just leave the country, unless they want to go to prison. Now, of course, the thing is the elections. Are we going to have free and fair elections? I think we will vote. I think we're all going to be able to vote. But I think Trump, even himself, I think quoted something from Russia or from Putin. Trump even said this even in one of his rallies or something. Like, it's not about it's not the vote. It's who counts the vote. Who counts the votes? Are we going to have accurate counting of the votes? That's the concern. But we're all going to vote. Well, I believe we're all going to be able to vote. I mean, they'll try some of those suppression techniques. Shortening the hours that are open, closing down polling places. They'll try everything they can to make it difficult. But we're going to vote. But it's just who's counting the fucking votes? How are they going to count them? Are they? That's the thing that I'm concerned about. Michael McAndrews says they will have to kill me to stop me from voting. Like I said, I don't think we're going to have a problem. Well, more than usual problem than voting, other than the normal obstacles that they try to throw out there. So but it's the counting. Bonnie Thompson. Bonnie Thompson. Hey, by the way, hi Bonnie. Good to see you. Bonnie Thompson says, I remember when America thought Watergate scandal was a big deal. I do too. I think I was about 12 or something. Watching the Watergate hearings on TV and all that. Yeah, it was a big deal, man. They actually had hearings and they actually said, hey, we're going to impeach you. We'll give you a little bit of a heads up here if you want to resign, but if not, you are definitely going to be impeached. And that was coming from the Republicans. And that shows you how far astray the Republican Party has gone, because now they are just totally, beholden and under Trump's, power. And as Marshall Jones says, this is a disgrace. That is a total disgrace. Mike Johnson is a pathetic, disgraceful little milquetoast, I'm about 24 minutes behind you, Nick. There. MJ Daniel says the U.S. military swore an oath to the U.S. Constitution, not DJT or the GOP, and I was following orders will not protect them from any wrongdoing or legal acts. So the question is, who will be in charge? Because as we've seen, it makes a big difference on what the DOJ will do. If we can flip the House and the Senate and we can get the White House back, then we can see some prosecutions. Hopefully a whole bunch of prosecutions in this matter. Your attention to this matter would be greatly appreciated. Karen Ames says, I agree, but people forget. I remember when Russia was our enemy. Yeah. I remember when especially Republicans would accuse, if they would accuse Democrats of being Russia-like or whatever, you know. But of course, you know, dear leader is, you know, he's best buddies with Putin, so MAGA is going to love Putin and thereby Russia. Gino Maynard, just like McConnell not meeting with Merrick Garland and not allowing his vote to the Supreme Court. Mitch McConnell will go down in history as being, I hope he'll go down in history as being a really vile, disgusting human being, and one who really was instrumental in bringing these right-wing extremists into power in America. Nola Carnes says hello. Hello, Nola Carnes. Good to see you. Good to see you. Kinky Streets is here. Hey, Kinky Streets. Hello. Always good to see Kinky Streets in the driver's lounge. It's always good, I think. Alrighty. This is when I first came in. You guys said you could hear me. TNP says the mic is something that would make MacGyver proud. Nice improv. Yes, this is I believe, a chopstick. This thing here, and I have a shoebox. You can't. It's out of camera, but I poked a little hole in the top of the shoebox, and the chopstick mic stand fits perfectly in the little hole, and I usually just can set it right there, and it's just about that far from my mouth. So and sometimes I lean a little closer. I don't really have. Sometimes I'll pick it up and hold it. I don't know why, just a nervous habit or something. But I can just leave it right there in the shoebox, in the shoebox holder, shoebox mic holder. Which also serves as an iPad stand, because I have my iPad. If you're wondering why I'm always looking down, it's because that's where I read the chat primarily from the iPad. I can look at the phone and I can see the most current chat. The most current chat is Owen, I believe, quoting probably a reference to oh, now it just disappeared. Is it Seven? What was the movie? Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman. Was Kevin Spacey the bad guy? Or, yeah, the creepy bad murderer guy? Anyhow, it was a reference. What's in the box? I think that was that reference. I think I got that one. I think sometimes I'm a little slow on the uptake on the movie references, but so if I want to see the most current chat, I can look up here, and do that. But to see like all the ones where I left off at, then I look down here. And these are the ones that are like 24 minutes behind. Up here is current. Down here is 24 minutes behind. Like I can see Christina Weibel says, "Hiya, Soulcraft. Good to see you." See that one? That one's like current. But then I go back down here on my iPad, and I'm like, Mr. Spock, little chocolate donuts. Yeah. Aaron West is here, so I see Aaron West. So now we are certainly at full mod capacity. Where West says, I'm working on my will and living will. Cheerful stuff. Yeah, but that's important. You know, you should do that. Everyone should do that. For sure. Big old or newer MacGyver? I never did see the newer MacGyver. Yeah, I guess they did bring it back, huh? I never did see the new one, so I don't know if that was good or bad or what. Falcor says you can protest whether you think it's illegal or not. Absolutely, we have the right to protest peacefully, peaceful protest, and there is a thing called civil disobedience, and or maybe technically you're breaking the law. But I know people like MLK Jr. were very much in favor of civil disobedience, and he always preached, peaceful protesting, and I agree with that. There might be sometimes where maybe you're just kind of skirting the law a little bit in terms of, like, I don't know, blocking a sidewalk or something, but if you're doing it peacefully and it's for a really good cause or a really good reason, I don't see any problem with it. I'm not against it. Big Hook misses the Mythbusters. That was a good show. I like that show. Apparently, the two main guys kind of hated each other in real life. I always thought it was just kind of, playful banter and with laced in with some heavy sarcasm. But apparently, they actually really hated each other. I think. Gina Maynard, Maple Donuts forever. Fancy coming in with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Yippee! I know I'm 20 minutes behind, but thank you, Fancy. There's a thumbs up and a heart for you. Says, gotta run, TJ. I will listen later. Uh-oh. So Fancy's probably gone already. But thank you. On the replay, you'll hear me give you the yippee. Yippee! William is here. Hey, William, good to see you. Falcor, that was for Mike Johnson. I think the punch bag face or whatever. Yeah. Aaron West says, I'm protesting on with an oyster roast on the 18th. Okay. Do what you got to do. Barney Thompson, then Richard Dean Anderson made me love Colonel O'Neill. That was the guy from MacGyver, and then I guess he played some other person that was a colonel or whatever. So I'm kind of skipping down a little bit. Skip it on down. Paul Burrows, Later Dudes and Dudettes. All right, Paul. Thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. See, I can look at the most recent chat. Damon Dog says, yes, I'll cook that roast. So I have a feeling maybe I'm not too far behind. I don't know. Big Hook says, I think Jamie is teaching in Norway or Finland. I think I'm mid-thread because I don't know who Jamie is. I don't know how we got on that deal there. Sandy Foltz says, Trump and Patrick Mahomes have something in common. They hold their head up and talk to it. What? I do know that Sandy is probably pretty happy that the Chiefs got beat last night. I thought because I don't really care about either team. I'm not a fan of either team. But I was glad to see the Jaguars. Someone just walked by, but usually if it's a delivery, they'll like knock on the door or something. I'm going to just check because it is 10:06, and I don't have, I can't track the thing unless I'm on the phone. And right now I'm doing the show on the phone. I'm just going to go open the door real quick and just see if possibly there was a delivery. Although they usually just give a little knock on the door, even if they're just dropping it off and they don't need a signature or anything like that. They usually will knock on the door. But I'm going to check just to make sure. So I'll be right back. Not a damn thing. But I just had to check. Bonnie Thompson, buy a couple little lizards to turn them loose in the apartment. I kind of thought of that. I did actually kind of think of that. Oh, someone's looking at a. Apparently, did my neighbor move out over here? This is like the third different person I've seen it working in the office now since I've been here. Anyhow, so there's a new girl. She works in the leasing office. Apparently, the people I saw walk by, I think that was her, and I didn't notice that it was two people the first time. But yeah, I guess maybe because I just heard her talking about, like, how if they're showing a unit, that kind of talk. So maybe she was showing. I don't know if I didn't know the next door neighbors moved out. If they did, I don't know. Who knows? Anyhow, the Soulcraft says nothing worked for our wood roaches until the roach bane. I have no idea what that means. I don't know what a roach bane is. DPD 5844 here says it was discovered that 4 of the children that were terrorized on the south side of Chicago are missing. They have not been returned to their parents. I feel these children are being trafficked. Oh my God. That stuff like that needs to go right to the forefront. That needs to be number one priority. Pritzker, you need to get on that. That needs to be top of list, top of mind. You need to get those children back. Gina Marin, Kafka had a serious roach problem. I know. Whenever I see one, I think of that short story. What was it called? Well, I can't remember the name of it, but I remember I've read that, and it's such a weird story. But of course, it's a big metaphor, I think, for Kafka feeling, because I think he was gay, right, or something, and in the early 1900s or whatever it was, and so I think he just felt totally ostracized, and even sort of by his own family, that would just sort of tolerate him and put up with him, but they didn't really, they didn't really do much more than just tolerate it and put up with him. I think that whole thing is a metaphor for that. But anyhow, and I can't remember the name of the story. This stuff you have to read in those like British Lit or English comp classes and stuff, which I took. It's been a long time. Okay, Jolie says, I swear by these traps that kill the whole nest. Living in the woods, we get all manner of bugs in here. Now I just put those traps out every spring and fall and have never seen any type of roach again. And these are indoor traps, right? So I'm going to put, I bought a 12 pack, and I'm going to probably use all 12 of them. I'm going to put them all around everywhere, because I'm infested. It's gross. It's disgusting. So yeah, I hope you're right, Jolie. We'll see. And then I was thinking about buying the Ortho home defense stuff also. Maybe I'll buy that. And just double down on this shit. But those traps should be coming today, and I'm gonna set them out. Twisted Nerve fans, it is gorgeous up there in the mountains. Yeah, maybe someday I'll get up there. That's where my kids live up there, and the ex lives up there, and I would like to be up there with them, but it's just a matter of there's not really income. My daughter works for a school, and she's telling me, that I could be a bus driver. I just don't want to. I don't know. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to be a bus driver, a school bus driver. I mean, she says they're always hiring, and with my trucking experience, I should get high. I probably would get hired really easy and all that kind of shit. I would have to take. I'd have to get another license. I think the license is different. It's not really like a CDL, but yeah, you would take a little. They have a little course, bus driving course. I'm sure I would pass it. A little driving test, and you get like a, class B or whatever it is. I don't know. But DPD says, TJ, have you considered withholding your rent in an escrow account until they have rectified thing? I don't even know how that shit works, but maybe. I don't know. The thing went away. Your post disappeared, so I didn't finish it. But those thoughts have crossed my mind, but I'm not really sure exactly if that works or not. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it says best thing after spray is a paste you apply to the hinges. Research a brand. I'm sort of I missed some of those conversations, so I'm not sure. We talking about like hinges on the doors or something, or something maybe. MJ Daniel says he heard more good things. Yeah, see, the chat is disappearing on me. TNP says structures on TNP is just fine. I will also respond to Winston. I know Winston. I still remember you as Winston. Also, yeah. Soulcrest says I used to have literal nightmares about my roach war. Karen Ames says spray the water meter with roach spray too. Really? I don't even know where the water meter is. Big Hook says same problem in the U.S. You just have more specialists than we do. Surgery wait lists in the States because it has to be authorized by insurance companies. The big difference is we don't go bankrupt. Right. Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, if we're gonna have to go through, jump through some hoops and be on wait lists, I'd rather do it where I'm not paying for it. Right, and I don't have to mortgage my house and to get the procedure done at least. So that's a good point. Owen says I once did UVA's kitchen. Oh my God, we took the panels off the wall and used backpack vacuums for 3 hours straight. Damn. Socraft says they love electricity or the warmth from any outlet or power source. Owen says roaches everywhere back in the day. Michael McAndrews says I've had to clear out roaches from stoves and wall phones before for people. Yeah, I know when the pesticide guy comes, they always pull out the stove from the wall and they spray back there and they spray behind the fridge and all that stuff. But the pesticide guy is not working. I think it's gotten worse since he was here last, which was like maybe it's been like a month now, or a few weeks anyhow. Karen Ames says, so true, Big Hook. I have Medicaid with HealthNet, so I don't pay for anything. Just have to get authorizations for procedures. Now, I just now got enrolled since I just turned 65. I'm enrolled in Medicare, but I haven't used it. I mean, I don't think I haven't even got my card yet. I think they may have mailed it to my old address. So last night I went on the website and because I didn't update my address. So I updated my address. So I don't even have my card, my Medicare card yet. But anyhow, I don't know how to use it. I guess I'm supposed to get the gap insurance. I still have to get. I didn't do that yet, and I want to make sure I don't get some junk insurance. And I really think that we shouldn't have to pay for anything. Especially when we're up in our older ages. Our incomes are very limited here. So, but anyhow, when are the old people in Florida and Texas and places like that are going to stop voting against their own best interests? Because I can tell you one thing, Medicare programs, as well as Social Security, goes a lot better under Democrats, especially like when you have or a independent that caucuses with Democrats. Because during the Biden administration, I saw a lot of great things going on, or it seemed like improvements with Medicaid and Social Security, thanks to people like Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Now, with Republicans in charge, we're seeing massive cuts that are going to be going into place for Medicare. And who knows what they're going to try to do to Social Security. They've always been wanting to privatize it. So I don't know. So old people, stop voting for Republicans, for God's sakes. New Good First is here. Hey, New Good, good to see you back. Saw you yesterday, so thanks for coming back. New Good First says Trump's job is to get the federal government policing to be totally normal and get rid of immigrants. To normalize these occupations. Yep. Is one of the goals. Yeah, there's several goals there. Mr. Spock says German roaches are bad. They once blitzkrieged through my kitchen once. Karen Ames says vote while the National Guard or ICE is standing by. I vote by mail, and that's what I do usually also. But I'm sure if you're living, I know you're in California, so you're okay. But if you are in a red state, chances are you might not be able to vote by mail, unfortunately. Bonnie Thompson says, okay, I'm out. All right, Bonnie, well, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. You're probably already gone already because I'm probably 20 minutes behind near there, but hope to see you again. New Good First says, and get rid of the anti-capitalist in government, then the coming Democratic leadership will get rid of the MAGA elements under the auspices of Christian nationalism, etc. I don't know if that. I might be mid-thread. I'm not sure who the anti-capitalists are in government, other than maybe Bernie. I know Elizabeth Warren. She labels herself as a capitalist, and and I think she's really good. Sandy Foltz says president voting is not another 3 years. Yes, Christina Wyman, what needs to happen is get dark money out. Absolutely. Again, that's another thing. No magic wand waving there. That takes a big act of Congress, and we need to stop voting for Republicans, or nothing will ever happen. Nothing will ever get done. Christina Sun Ghost Squad is here. Oh, forgot you were early today. Hello, John. Hello, Christina. Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays we come on earlier. Big Hook require passport and birth certificate, which will make it expensive. Owen says you can smell if there is real roach problem. The German roaches pop smoke, flashbang. I don't think I have any German roaches over here. Big Hook require passport and birth certificate. Oh, I already read that. Oh, that got posted twice for some reason, and it is mid-thread. I'm not really sure what that was in reference to. New Good First says they will try to renormalize political stability as greater and greater automation is rolled out with some sort of pseudo UBI, maybe a tax credit system, and lowering Social Security age. I don't know if I'm against any of those things, except for the pseudo part. I would like a real UBI, a tax credit system. I'm not crediting. What's it crediting? What are you getting the credits for? I guess I would ask. And lowering the Social Security age, I'm all for it. I think they should lower it to like 50 or 55. Let people retire while they're still young enough to enjoy their retirement, and open up whatever jobs are left. Open those jobs up for the younger folks. So, that's all I got to say about that. Jenny. New Good First says the powers that be must eliminate economic populism before full automation takes hold. Well, we are definitely going to see changes in how things are done and in manufacturing and with all of the technology powered by AI. We are definitely going to go through another transition, like going from the agrarian age to the industrial age to the computer age, and now, I guess it would be just the high-tech AI age. And all of those ages have shifted how economies run on what the basis of the economy is. All of those things changed changed how governments survive, basically. Michael Bagandro's papers, please, is like a Nazi commie thing. Yeah, and this is exactly this whole thing of ICE, just grabbing people. And then in the clips, well, someone made a reference to the papers. I forget if it was Pritzker or someone else, but that brought me back to just a few years ago. I believe was it under the Obama? Was it going back to Obama? Was it that far ago? When Arizona? See, we're just rehashing everything, but now instead of being just on the state level, now we're at a national level with Trump. But remember the papers, please thing in Arizona? And was it Obama that the governor, what's her face, that old hag, was pointing her finger, at Obama? I think it was Obama. Yeah, you guys, my memory's a little weird, so help me out here. But that was that whole thing about the papers, please, your paper, please. So we've gone through this. We're just rehashing. Things keep keep reoccurring. We're like in the fucking Groundhog's Day here or something. They tried this in Arizona, and it got shot down, thankfully. But now they're doing it again. But it's not really like a state law that was passed, and this is just the federal government that is abusing its power and violating the Constitution. Comedy Mothership is here. Hey, Comedy Mothership, thanks for being here. I do appreciate you. Comedy Mothership says, I have a production note after reading the first chats. In the beginning, just jump to the bottom. Is it an issue? I mean, is there a problem with me reading chats that are 20 minutes old? That's the show, folks. If I don't do that, there's no show. I can go to the bottom right now. Gina Maynard says, keeper. David Dog says, Gino, yep. Okay, thank you. Tip your waiters on your way out. Show's over. I'm out of here, folks. Bye! As I turn around and fly off. Show's over. Soulcraft. Who was I talking about? Rush getting together with Annika Niles on drums. See, I'm totally mid-thread. I know yesterday we were talking about Rush going on tour, and they hired this drummer, Annika Niles, and who apparently is a really awesome drummer. But anyhow, thanks for the suggestion, Comedy Mothership. But I don't know. I don't really see the big deal in me being 20 minutes behind. If this is the type of thing I'm doing, as far as reading the chats. Now, someday I will have a better setup. And maybe instead of playing all the clips at the very beginning of the show, I'll play them during the show, and I'll break them down and comment on them, like a lot of, like you see Boston Brian does that, and Hal does that. I guess I could just be like those. I could just copy their formats, which I don't know. But the way it is now, I can't do that with the equipment that I have. I can't. I mean, I could play a clip right now. I could pull a clip up. I could play it, but then there's always sound issues. I have no way of controlling the sound. There's no sound meter or sound like a volume button. Usually people they say that it's staticky or it's really low and they can't hear it. So with the way I'm doing the show now, I can't really play clips. And Sandy says, CJ, you should be signed up to be the next president. Oh, thank you. My turn. It's my turn to be president. But anyhow, thanks for the suggestion. Owen says, that's why I got out of the pest control game, Aaron West. It was not as glamorous as I had dreamed. Soulcrafts, I used to say that comedy. Christina and Sun Goes Squad. My grandmother remembers when they were begging people to come out and settle here from other places because they needed people to pay taxes, and now we're kicking them out. I am pretty much mid-thread, I think, on some of this, because I just skipped down. Christina Weibel says, no Comedy Mothership. I like that John reads almost all the chats. Yeah, so they're comedy. Mothership. So there, take that. Comedy Mothership with more suggestions. I would suggest checking out Rick's Mace. He does a similar live stream offering, and he has ways he generally keeps up with the chat. I don't think keeping up with the chat is really an issue, unless you want to make it an issue. But anyhow. I'm not really sure why it would be an issue. Comedy Mother says, Christina, I'm sure I'm thinking more of the fellow getting more viewers. I'm thinking of this fellow getting more viewers. 007 Kevin Trollslayer says, Trucker John, another thing that won't fly is if Repubs start losing, they will be like, do you want peace or not? So if they start losing elections, are you saying? And then they're gonna then the Republicans will threaten violence if they lose? If they lose, they're gonna lose. And if they lose, a lot of them are gonna end up in prison. I think. Michael McAndrew says some sick fuck pardon terrorists that terrorize our beautiful capital. Yeah, who was that sick fuck? Who was that sick fuck? Let's see. Could it be this guy? It's time for the 25th Amendment. We could only wish, right? In our dreams. I don't think they're ever going to 25th Amendment this guy. I don't care how fucking deranged and just rambling and incoherent he gets. I don't think they're ever going to 25th Amendment this guy. I think that they're just going to keep him in there until the day he keels over. They're going to milk it for everything they can, because while he's up there doddering around, and you've got Stephen Miller and what's Vought and all these other assholes kind of running the country and kind of doing the things that they want to do. Christina Sungo says, by the time John sees me, we will be at the end of the stream. I see you. Christina Webb says, my dad and I are working on getting our passports. We are doing this through my public library. I already have the forms. I don't think it's that. I had a mine is expired, my passport, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I just went to the post office. I think they have a service there where they take your picture and you fill out the forms, and I think it costs like $80. This is a long time ago. Maybe it's gone up. This was like 15 years ago or something. Mr. Spock, a special mic has better audio, TJ. Oh, okay. I get it. Yeah. It's better than the chopstick mic. 7. James Henry. Yeah, that movie was 7. TMP says, excellent. I love that. When I was live streaming, my first camera boom was an old lamp and a cup holder I rigged together. Where there's a will, there's a way. Hey, Walter Makarovich is here. Hey, Walter, good to see you. Walter says, morning trucker, John, watching the alternate universe Bondi hearing. I have that on right now. I don't have the volume on, but I do have it on. Anyhow, so Walter says, watching the alternate universe Bondi hearing going on in the Senate live on C-SPAN. What a joke. Anybody here see that show Gunny Speaks Out? It's pretty good. I think I may have come across that on my feed. On my feed here. Comedy Mothership says Trucker John has a great vibe. He needs more viewers. More people deserve to enjoy. Well, I agree. I do agree. I do need more viewers, and I appreciate the input and the suggestions. And I eventually am going to probably change things. The show has evolved, or maybe it's devolved. I don't know, but it definitely is different over the years. Like when I first started doing this, it was in a truck, out on the road, out at a truck stop, and a lot of you probably would think that was better, and in a lot of ways, I think it is too, because it's kind of cool, like being out on the road and showing stuff out there. But anyhow, that's where I come from. That's where the show really comes from, is me being out on the road and doing it out there. And then I stopped driving, and so I moved this show pretty much indoors. And and I didn't used to have all these backgrounds and stuff and all this fancy stuff. But yeah, but I appreciate the input. It does let me know in the feedback. It lets me know a little bit of what people are thinking. And I definitely would like to to play clips during the show and not just at the beginning, and be able to comment on them, and we could break it down as a group. We could talk about, like, I could play a clip about whatever's going on, and then we could all talk about it as a group instead of just having them all front loaded like that. So that's something I'm working on doing. You know, and I think once I get there are some computers I've been looking at, some that are affordable. There's some refurbished ones. They're very affordable, and so once I do that, that will probably change the way I do the show a lot, quite a bit. DPD 5844 says Dum Dum Bondi is being questioned live about the Epstein files. I don't understand why they just don't hook them up to sodium pentothal. The truth serum. That's the only way to get the truth from these assholes. Yeah, I don't have the volume on. I can see her right now. Let's see, where are we at? I'll turn the volume up a little bit.
Haven't really talked about Harmeet Dillon a lot today, but Harmeet Dillon runs our civil rights division, and she is working with Leo Terrell, and they are combating anti-Semitism around this country. We have an anti-Semitism task force that we're
Do you
forming.
mind getting me an update on the progress of that task force?
Absolutely, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, God.
And, last in my last.
That's the Stepford wife, Brit, that's asking questions, and I don't know how they got anti-Semitism. Anyhow, I thought they were talking about Epstein, but Soulcraft says might be good some days to have a specific thing to talk about. Sizzy Jones, I'm on the phone lurking. Comedy Mothership, one of the best chats on YouTube. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think the folks in the driver's lounge are pretty awesome. You guys are pretty awesome. Mad Max here, Slava Ukraini. And I know it probably gets frustrating. I'm talking about stuff that was posted 24 minutes ago, and then you're kind of like, wait a minute, what's he talking about now? So, yeah, it's a bit of an issue. I don't think we need to block someone just because they had an idea or something that you didn't like. Whatever. You're free to block whoever you want to block, but I just saw some blocking going on or whatever, and I think it's kind of silly. But that's, like I said, you're free to block whoever you want to. Soulcraft, it had a lot of metaphor relevant to what we're going through now! Exclamation point there. Wow. Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a lot of it carries. That's why they still have you read it in college. It's kind of timeless, I think. That Kafka story. Karen Ames says, I'm totally sick about what happened to that judge and her family with their house getting blown up. The husband has broken bones from jumping out the window. I haven't read too much on that, but it's crazy. Isn't that fucking crazy? And I think we can pretty much put this at the blame of this at the foot of Stephen Miller, right? Because wasn't it what he came out with a bunch of his shit, and then next thing you know, some asshole takes that as a cue to action and goes and blows up this judge's house. This is why we need to get all of it back. We need the House, the Senate, the White House, and these motherfuckers need to go to prison. They need to be sent to prison. And I do kind of skip down, and if there's a lot of just sort of like, hey, or hi, I kind of skip over that. Not that there's anything against. I don't have anything against you guys saying hi to each other, but I don't really need to repeat all that. Company mothership, is the chair orange in real life? Yes. Oh, yes, it is. It's not part of the green screen. But yeah, the chair has the orange cutouts in it. It's orange and black. It's my old alma mater colors from high school, which I like. I like my colors. I really like orange and black. Just don't tell Jen that, because he'll say that, Jen up the base. He'll say, "Oh, that's because you like the Giants colors, San Francisco Giants." And no, I like my old high school colors. Comedy Mothership says, "Yes, your neighbor moved." How do you know? How do you know if my neighbor moved? Probably what happened though, they probably moved, and then they probably sprayed the hell out of it, and all the bugs ran over here. Because I've just noticed, especially the last couple of days, I am like totally fucking infested, like way worse than I've ever been. David Dog, see if they have any shit. Well, I'm sure the doors are locked, for one thing. So. David Dog, the big dog, says stevia is the only sweetener I've found that doesn't cause an insulin reaction. I used to use stevia. I guess it's stevia. Yeah, it's okay. I just use plain old regular sugar now. Comedy Mothership says Pritzker is sticking the state police on protesters, so I don't know if he's listening. I don't know. I didn't hear about that. I heard a couple of his Chicago Police Department got tear gassed. The Soulcraft says we hear nothing in the media about the two girls the guy killed for Charlie Kirk revenge. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Two girls were killed for Charlie Kirk revenge. I don't think I heard that. So you're right. I think you've proven your point, because this is the first I think I'm hearing of it. Jolie says you're part of the Trucker John family now, Karen Ames. That's right, Karen. Like it or not. Gina Maynard says the Chicago ICE raid was like stopping the entire freeway to pull over a speeder. It's definitely overkill, and it's definitely Trump and Stephen Miller or whatever sending a message, really instilling fear and intimidation, and a warm up probably of things to come. Metamorphosis, that's it, Gina Maynard. That was it. That was the Kafka story. Soulcraft says I just put on my Metamorphosis t-shirt. It's from the band Sleep Token. Karen Ames says, did you guys hear that MSNBC will no longer be affiliated with NBC News after the end of the month? They are going independent. Yeah, I heard about that, I guess, a few weeks ago. I guess they did a change, ownership change or whatever it was. Comedy Motherships, it disappeared, sorry. That's another thing. When the chat moves up past the top part, I can't get it back. It just disappears into the ether. David up, put boric acid out. They'll carry it back to the nest. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says they must have trucking jobs up there. No, there's no really trucking job. Plus, I don't want to do trucking. I'm done with trucking. Even though I've kept my CDL up to date, my medical card's up to date, all my certifications are all up to date. My endorsements. I just have no desire to drive a truck. And there really is no trucking up on the mountain. I'd have to commute down the hill, and then they have deliveries that go up the mountain. But as far as it was just not practical, and I don't want to do it. Cindy Phillips, what else? They don't have a Metro bus driver on the mountain. They barely have. They don't have cabs. They don't have rideshare up there. They barely maybe have some shuttles during ski season just to shuttle people maybe to parking areas or stuff like that. But that's about it, man. Karen Abe says, I subscribe to the newsletter to keep me informed on where they will be broadcasting from. They said facts, no propaganda, real news, keeping embassy regulars. Oh, I guess that's the new channel or the MSNBC, whatever they're changing it to. Company Mothership says you need a little more for your theory. I may be mid-thread here. I may be mid-thread. Let me suggest something like all AI is just Indian guys in a chat room with Google search. I don't agree with that. Mr. Spock says the dead roaches didn't get eaten and poison more roaches. The Soulcraft says a friend of mine had no insurance and was in the hospital for 2 weeks. $200K, that would end me. Damon Dog, West Webb. I guess he wants West Webb to come in for some reason. Kiki Street says, County Mothership, it's a scam. I agree. I am a bit mid-thread. Some of the, I wasn't able to read. So it kind of jumped. The chat kind of jumped and disappeared. And I kind of missed a lot of that. So that's the way it goes. Soulcraft says they really don't even need food, just water. I guess talking about the bugs again. And then Company Mothership says, Kiki Streets, but you need something like that. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, your theory. Oh, so I guess the theory was something Kinky said. I'm saying otherwise, your theory is just saying it's a scam and then listing technology. So I missed a lot of the threads in that conversation, guys. I did. And yeah, I'm not able to go back to it. It won't let me go back. Not gonna go back, can't go back, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. WW, you can't be denied Medicare if you're 65. Did anyone say that? I don't think anyone said that. And by the way, your thing worked, I guess. Who was it that said WW 3 times? That brought him in. It worked. It worked. Yeah. Josh says, holy shit, Damon Dog, it worked. Yeah. Karen Ames says, today I plan on sitting in my chair doing nothing to recover from our long trip yesterday to Bakersfield. Oh boy, Bakersfield. My battery went dead in Tehachapi and had to get a jump start to get home. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, Bakersfield is the ass end of the San Joaquin Valley in California, the Central Valley of California, which is all pretty red in terms of, political parties. The Central Valley, the central part of California, all through that corridor there, I-95, I-5 corridor, basically from Bakersfield up to probably all the way up to Redding. It's pretty red. Talk about Redding, it's all pretty red. But the thing about it is it's still probably less population than if you combine like LA and San Francisco areas, which are primarily, blue. It's still population wise, it's a lot less, but it's a big swath of land. And old Bakersfield is it's one of the crime-wise I've been seeing in crime-wise it's one of the most dangerous places in California in terms of crime rates. Aaron West says they can use your social security number if you don't have your card, I think. Anyhow, well, hopefully I don't need it right now. I haven't gone to a doctor in years, so I'm not worried about not having my card. And I guess they're going to mail it to me. So, WW says the problem, of course, is that somebody always has to pay. Nothing is free. No, we all pay into our taxes. By our taxes. So I don't think I should have to double pay. I've already paid with my taxes. I don't think I should now have to pay for Medicare. I've already paid. So they're double dipping is what they're doing. You dipshit. WW is my little punching bag. I'm just kidding. Mad Mac, Epstein. Maybe the Epstein files will now magically appear. Is that what you're trying to do there, Mad Mac? The Soulcraft says Warren was part of a great documentary on credit card companies called Maxed Out. She was still just a professor back then. It's how I became aware of her. I like Elizabeth Warren. I really do. I like her a lot. WW, the current standoff is about nothing more than increasing the debt to continue the Trump tax cuts. I think it has more to do with them not wanting to swear in that new representative and get the Epstein files out. I think that's what it's about. Owen says, I hear you, TJ. My in-laws already voted 2 weeks ago for more Republicans in Virginia, lost their job for supplemental income, and all the bills are up, and they rely on Social Security, Medicare, which are two different things, but I guess I get both. Yeah. Why? Why do people do that? Why do people vote against their own best interests? It makes no sense other than the fact that they are highly propagandized and they're listening to Fox News and places like that. Tim Farrell's here. Have a good day. Hey, good to see you, Tim Farrell. Thanks for coming on in. I appreciate you. James Jaramillo is here. I appreciate that. I think I'm 33 minutes behind, which is pretty far behind. The Soulcraft says we freaked her out with Roach talk. I apologize. Sandy Foltz, TJ, you can't sign up for Medicaid, Medicare, and United Healthcare. I didn't. I did not sign up for United Healthcare. I haven't had United Healthcare in years. Karen Ames says, James Jaramillo, me too. At least I got the paperwork filed with the clerk on my parents' home, and I don't have to go through probate. That was great news. I'm mid-thread. WW just going off on something, says true liberals are the trust capitalists. Freedom to own property is a foundation of freedom. I agree. I don't think, Richard Lovedale, Richard, our expat, who's down under, is here. It says, Richard says, love the LA Dodgers cap. Sandy Koufax, and Don Drysdale. Yep. They were a great duo. Two of the greatest pitchers, really, in baseball history, let alone Dodger history. WW, you can't retire on Social Security alone. Boy, ain't that the truth. I say remove the cap, the tax cap, tax everybody for Social Security, and raise Social Security payments and make them tax free. That's what I say. Again, double dipping. There should be no double dipping. Damon Dog, it was the Arizona governor. Yeah, that's what I said. I said it was in Arizona. Her name was Jan. I think her name was Jan something. Or whatever. Remember that old hag, the governor? Yeah, Jan Brewer. There you go. Jan Maynard. Jan Jan Brewer of governor of Arizona, the Crypt Keeper. Yeah. Boy, I really am behind. Belfast Bob Voltaire is here. Hello, Belfast Bob Voltaire. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us from Ireland. He's from Ireland. Barney Thompson says there is a need for UBI. How America makes that work is above my pay grade. Tax the fucking rich, man. Tax the rich. I'm all for taxing the rich. Because you know what? They'll still be rich. It's not like we're not putting them in the poorhouse. We're just taking some taxes from the rich. They can fucking afford it. But they're greedy fucks. They're greedy motherfuckers that will think nothing about dropping $1 million just to throw some party on a whim. But God forbid you should want to take a few dollars in taxes and to help, with the social safety net. God forbid. Belfast Bob says they passed severe anti-protest law in UK yesterday. That sucks. I think, right? Right? Josh says, I personally believe this should be a 24/7 lounge, but that's a tall task. Would get really funky with sleep deprivation. I could just leave it on and but I got to use my phone. But if if I just used my iPad, or if I just did it from the iPad or something or whatever, I could just leave it on 24/7. Let you guys chat whenever you wanted to, and I would be going about my business, and then popping in from time to time or whatever. Josh says the chopstick mic is like a trademark now. Richard says Trucker John is wearing a LA Dodger. Yes, I am. Absolutely. Did you guys watch the game last night? What a game. What a freaking game. Talking about the Dodger game against the Phillies, game 2 of the National League Divisional Series. And I was getting so fucking mad. Because here you had once again, this has been the bane of my existence or whatever. This year, the Dodgers have a really good team. They've got a really good team, a really good team. really good offense, really good lineup, really good starting pitching, but their fucking relief squad, that's the bullpen has been shit, especially these last couple months with blown saves. I mean, during the regular season, we had one pitcher had a no hitter going in, and he went all the way to the ninth inning. And I think he started tiring out, and then he gave up a hit, and then I forget if he how many more hits he gave up, but they pulled him, and the fucking bullpen blew the save. They blew the game. This guy had just pitched the gem of a game, and they came in and lost the game for him. They gave up a bunch of runs and lost the game. And then we've seen at least two or three other times where great pitching performances by the starting pitcher, and the bullpen comes in and they'll have a nice 4 or 5 run lead, and they blow the lead and they blow the game and lose the game. And this has happened over and over and over again. And last night again, and this is in the playoffs now, Blake Snell pitched a great 6 innings. He started the game, went 6 innings, was pitching. Was it a shutout? Or did he give up 1 run? I forget now, but pitching a great game. Dodgers had a lead. It was either 4-1 or 4-0. I forget. But and then they go to the bullpen, and I'm like, oh my god. Well, then they brought in Emmett. What's Emmett? Emmett Shear, and he did really good because he's a starting pitcher. He's not really like a reliever, and Roberts has had to go to that strategy because the relievers have been shit. So he's in the playoffs. He's instead of putting in relievers, he's putting in other starters or people who normally start. So Emmett pitches a couple innings and he does good and he shuts them out, I think. And so then we get into was it the ninth inning? And he brings in fucking Blake Trinan, who's been crappy. And he's normally a good pitcher, but he's been crappy this year. He's been blowing saves, and he looks like shit. And he's got this other guy, this Roki Sasaki, who he came in the other night and just shut him down because this guy's coming in throwing 100, 101 mile an hour, and he just shuts him down. But instead, he goes with Blake Trinan. And what's Blake Trinan do? He starts giving up hits, and they start scoring runs. And I'm like, oh my God, get this motherfucker out of here. Get this motherfucker out of here. I don't want to see Blake Trinan for the rest of the postseason. Give him a ticket to fucking Hawaii. Tell him, have a nice day. Have a nice year. Thank you very much. Get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see Blake Trinan on the mound ever again for the rest of this postseason. So there he is. He's blowing the game. Then they put in Vesia. Vesia gets an out. I guess it was, and then maybe that was the 8th inning, and then I think the 9th inning they finally brought in Sasaki, Roki, and he what did he do? He came in and he blew him away, shut him down. I think it was all the 9th inning because then I think Sasaki had to get the last 2 outs or something. So he saves the game, and the Dodgers win as they should have because they had been controlling the game and dominating the game the whole way. In fact, in those late 7th, 8th innings, before the Phillies started scoring, and earlier in the game, it was very loud. The fans were very loud. It was in Philadelphia. They were very, very loud, and it was to the point where the pitchers couldn't even hear because now they have these little hearing devices in their caps. Instead of just relying on like signals, the catcher would signal the pitches, like what pitches to throw. Now, so in order to cut down on stealing, like the fucking Astros did to the Dodgers in the World Series in 2019, to avoid that from happening, now they've gone to these electronic things where there's like a different beeps and they can determine what pitch the catcher is calling for. And it was so loud that the guy couldn't even hear that, I think, at one point. But around the probably 8th inning or so, it was like a fucking mausoleum in there. The Dodgers were just shutting them down, striking out all their big hitters, and just they weren't able to do anything. And at this point, and the Dodgers had a big 4-run inning, I think in the 7th or whatever it was, and the Philly fans were just sitting there silent. in just silence because they're like, we're done. We're Dodgers got us. And then they got new life when they brought in fucking Blake Trinan and they scored a few runs, and then the place came alive again. But fortunately, the Dodgers hung on and they won the game. They're up 2-0. They come home. They're home. They play again tomorrow night in Dodger Stadium. I'm really hoping they just win. That'll be that will end the series. They'll have won in 3 games and nothing sweet. It's the best 3 out of 5. And then from there they go to if they win. I don't want to count my chickens before they've hatched. But if they get past the Phillies, then they'll go on to the championship series, which is not the World Series for you folks who maybe don't follow all this stuff. It's just the championship series for the National League. There's an American League and there's a National League, right? And then the 2 champions of each league, they play. That's who plays each other in the World Series. So if the Dodgers can get past the Phillies, they'll be playing whoever wins between Milwaukee and the Cubs. And the Brewers last night, they beat the Cubbies I think it was 7-3 or something like that. And I think Milwaukee is up 2-0 also, I think. Or did they even the series? I forget now. But anyhow, the Dodgers, if they get past the Phillies, will play the winner of that game, of that series, for the National League champ. That'll be the NLCS, National League Championship Series. That's a best of 7. So that means you got to win 4, right, out of the 7. And then if they win that, on to the World Series. And let's see. Over there, I think, who's looking pretty strong? Boston? Did the Yankees get eliminated already? I forget, because I mainly was watching the National League. I forget who is looking good over there. Detroit was looking pretty good. It might end up being Detroit, but who knows? No. But yeah, we're so ways off. But that's your update, your baseball update. But yeah, that game last night, I went from being very sort of proud of our starting pitcher there, Blake Snell, and then seeing how the Dodgers came and they came alive and they had a big inning and scored those runs. Saw some really great plays with Miguel Miggy, what's his name, running to the bag, beating a runner to the bag at third base to get a key out. The wheel play where they bunted, Phillies bunted, and Muncy fired a ball to third base where Mookie Betts was playing short and had to run over and cover that and beat the runner again. And they did that. And then well, we'll get to the closing in a minute, but just some great plays in the field, great hitting, some key clutch hitting. Will Smith coming up, who has a fractured arm, and he comes in and pitches hits, which has a big RBI single, I think it was. Lots of great things from the Dodgers, and then they almost fucking blow it with Blake Trinan. Please, no more Blake Trinan. Please, I beg of you, Dave Roberts, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I'm begging you, please, no more Blake Trinan. He's done. He's done, son. He's done. No more of him. Try somebody else. You're just put him, send him on a bus to Bakersfield for all I care. And then, so anyhow, in the 9th inning, we got Sasaki in there. The last batter hits a grounder to second base. I think it was Tommy Edmonds who I mean, he had to make this out because I think there was a runner on third. If he didn't get the out at first, the runner would have scored it. That would have tied the game, I think. And we would have gone to extra innings. And so Tommy Edmonds, I believe, was playing second, throws a horrible throw to first base. And thank goodness that Freddie Freeman is very tall. He's about 6'5", and very limber. Very limber first baseman. He did the splits. Kept his probably, I guess it was his left foot he kept on the bag and the right foot out, and his whole body stretched out, and his big long arms. He stretched out as far as humanly possible that he could stretch out and keep his foot on the bag, and was able to scoop that ball up and get the out at first, and that ended the game. So thank God for Freddie Freeman. Thank God in the genetics of Freddie Freeman being a 6'5" and very athletic person, or it would have been extra innings, and then who knows what would have happened after that. So that's your Dodger update. They'll be playing again tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium. Game 3. Hopefully they'll be the brooms will be out and they'll be sweeping them, and that's what I'm hoping for. All right. So where was I at in the chat? Looks like Jen of the Base is in here. Jen Base says, Jolie, hi Jolie, thanks. We've been working on it behind the scenes. I know TJ is very excited about our partnership, laughing out loud. I have no idea what that's about. I don't know. Can I scroll back on here? Because I think I missed something that Jen of the Base said, but I don't know. I don't know if I really want to or not. It's probably not worth the hassle. But I am going to take this off because it actually makes it hard to read the chat on there. But anyhow, hello, Jen Base. Good to see you. Someone said, who said? Jen Base, no, Bonnie Thompson says Pam Bondi is a soulless hag. Speaking of hags. Damon Dog, I thought ICE was raiding John's apartment complex. Wait, just now? Did you hear something? Mad Max says, if you go to the 3 dots next to your text, it says, and then it goes on to say remove, then it posted. None of mine say that. Oh, I think Mad Max was saying something about his post being removed or something. I don't know. I know nothing. I know nothing. I see nothing. WW, I had a little mold on my bacon this morning and cooked up the rest. About half a pound. It was glorious, but now I have gas. Why do you have mold on your bacon? That's the sign from God that you're supposed to throw the shit out by then. Did you eat the moldy bacon? No wonder you have gas. Belfast Bob says it was the landlords who called ICE on those tenants. Wow. I guess they wanted to. They're like, you know what? I want to clear all these motherfuckers out and raise the rent or something. I don't know. Bonnie Thompson says this chat proves that you can time travel back 20 minutes. Damon Dog says that mold will not hurt you and crispy fried bacon can not go bad. I don't know. If I saw mold on the bacon's going in the trash. Sorry. That's just the way I am. Mr. Spock says, one time a trucker at a truck stop asked me how to get past the way station. The way station was on the other side of the highway. I told him, and he pulls a carton of cigarettes out the back and gives them to you, I guess. Well, that sounds pretty sketchy. WW says the police say that the fire was not arson and there was no explosion. They're lying. Yeah, me thinks they're not telling the truth. I don't know. Yeah, Mad Max says I'm not believing much the PD says these days. WW. Sandy Foltz with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Sandy. Yippee to Sandy Foltz. Thank you so much. Thank you for that. That helps. We'll put that in the kitty. I guess we'll put that in the account to help keep the show going and afloating. I do appreciate you. Josh says, did we talk about Dial Tomations Earth yet today? Well, I did skip down. I'd be surprised if someone hadn't mentioned it by now. Jim the Basis Trucker John, I don't need to say, TJ, you said it, attacking me when you don't think I'm here. Shaking my head, John sad. I know, you're just the poor little victim. You're just attacked. No, you can't even say hello, good morning to you without you accusing me of attacking you. You just a little snowflake. How have you even survived this long being such a snowflake? I wonder. How do people survive being just snowflakes? Damon Dog says, speaking of Dodger Phillies, that was an exciting end to the game. It was exciting, but it was unnecessarily exciting. Phillies had a chance and blew it. No, the Dodgers are the ones that were blowing it. They were definitely the ones blowing it by putting in Trinan. I'm telling you, that guy should just retire right now. Just go retire. You suck. You're no good. You've lost it. Just get the fuck out of the league. Get the fuck off my team. Anna Moore's here. Hey, Anna, good to see you. Anna says, hello, TJ and loungers and trucklers. Just finished watching the intro. This just gets crazier by the minute. Yeah, it's every day, right? Every day. It's another crazy thing. It just... the old Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. I think we are living in interesting times. I kind of missed the old boring days of the Joe Biden years, right? Where we could go days and days and days without anything happening, except for inflation coming down and unemployment going down and GDP going up, just kind of doing its thing while we went and did our thing, But nope, the American people said, you know what? I want us to live in interesting times. Only they don't know that interesting times could be good and it could be bad. And so far, it's been pretty bad. Kiki Streets, I like, I guess, Venezuela. Fernando on the Dodgers. Yeah, I like Fernando. May he rest in peace. Poor old Fernando. He passed away last year. I think we're like the same age, me and Fernando. Belfast Bob Voltaire, £5 super chat. Yippee to Belfast Bob. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'll give you the thumbs up and a heart. That does go a long way in helping the show grow and stay on and all that good stuff. Maybe have a better format someday. But thank you so much, Belfast Bob. I appreciate it. We are 3/5 of the way of making the goal, so that's pretty cool. Christian Weibel, that judge's home was firebombed. And they better find out who did it and arrest that person and put him in a trial and convict that son of a bitch. WW absolutely was not an explosion. It's a nice house you got there. Be ashamed if something were to happen to it. The Trump administration is the extortion administration. It's all about extortion. That's like when during the intro, was it Warren? She was talking about, or and basically it was just Trump just extorting. It was just, extorting the healthcare industry and the hospitals, and you better vote my way. or else I'm going to take away jobs. That's what it was. He says he's going to just fire all these federal jobs, and if you don't give me what I want, that's extortion, folks. That's Donald Trump's MO. He's got power, and the way he exudes or uses that power is to extort people to get what he wants. Richard says, for Trump, it's all about me, me, me. Yep. Just skipping down in the chat here a little bit. Kind of skipping down and needle dropping. Christina Weibel says, rest in peace, Virginia Giuffre. I always mess up her name. She was one of the Epstein victims. She took her own life recently. So Christina Weibel is saying, rest in peace, Virginia Giuffre. Her book is coming out October 14th. Isn't that the day they gave to CK as a national day? It might be. So on that day, I hope everyone rushes out and buys that book. You know, as a little fuck you to this day of Charlie Kirk, whatever they're calling it. And by the way, his wife Erica is a big fake. It's a big phony, as far as I'm concerned. Michelle is here. Hello, Michelle. Karen Ames says Bakersfield is gross, it's dirty, dangerous. I hate the drive. Yeah, I was talking about Bakersfield earlier. Good old Bakersfield. The streets of Bakersfield. Now, Tehachapi is not too bad. But once you get down the mountain into Bakersfield, and it used to be you could get to Bakersfield and you could smell the oil fields because they used to be really heavy into oil extraction, oil pumps, the big oil pumps, and you could just smell them like as soon as you got into the valley. I don't know. They've shut down a lot of that. I don't think they pump as much as they used to, but so it might not be quite as strong. Richard says Gavin Newsom would make a great POTUS. I agree. I think he would be. I mean, I know there's a lot of, even amongst the fellow Democrats, that maybe aren't so keen on Gavin Newsom, but I think he would be a great president. I really do. I mean, if you liked what Joe Biden did with the economy, where he took us out of the pandemic and all of that, combined with Trump's mishandling of everything and inheriting a really shitty economy, horrible economy, and turning it around and getting us really to being the best economy in the world and having some of the best numbers that we've had in half a century economically. If you like that, then I think you would like Gavin Newsom. Josh says, Richard, my dog would be a better POTUS than what we currently have. Well, yeah. I don't know why. I'm very thirsty. Talking makes you thirsty. Let's see. Belfast Bob says, saw TYT Jink CK reply video and went into comments. FK thought they were leftist. Was I wrong? It was Maggot Central Mad Mac. Okay, I'm skipping down. Kiki Street says, may I suggest either jumping into real time with chat since it seems you misconstrue the chat at times. Yeah, that is one of the risks and downfalls, that's for sure, of being so far behind. Mad Max says, makes me want to boke every time I hear that jink arsehole. Maybe you meant puke? Maybe puke? I'm not sure what boking. I think that's probably a typo of some sort. MJ Daniel says the U.S. needs an option for federal health care. It would be good for the. It would be good. Yes, it would be good. Why do they keep fighting it so much? Why are Republicans so against national health care? Why? And the only thing I can ever come up with is the big healthcare lobbyists. They lobby on behalf of the healthcare industry, the insurance industry, not the doctors, not the nurses, not the hospitals, not the actual care, but on behalf of the health insurance companies. They have tons and tons of lobbyists, which are basically lawyers and people who know how to make a case and get the ear of Congress because they bring the money. They bring the money. That's what gets the ear, is the money. And they're the ones that get heard, and listened to, and that's why there's this uneven playing field where everything goes in favor of the lobbyists, and the lobbyists by and large are these big industries, these big corporations, and that's why they get so much stuff that they want, while we little people get scraps if we're lucky. We get the crumbs if we're lucky to even get the crumbs. But a federal healthcare system, or a universal single-payer national healthcare system, or Medicare for all, if you will, would be a great, great thing. It would benefit so many people. It would free up that I guess the burden of companies having to pay into it in payroll taxes. It would make it so a person could go anywhere they want, any job they want. They wouldn't have to worry about what their health care package is. If they wanted to start their own business, be entrepreneurial, they don't have to worry about their health care. It's a great, great thing. National health care is a great thing if it's done right. Of course, if it's done right and is under scrutiny, to make sure that it's being run correctly and not being ripped off or whatever, it could be a great, great thing. So I agree that we need that. DPD 5844 says, TJ, that is unacceptable that you have not gone to a doctor in years. You need to schedule a yearly physical to make sure that everything is okay. Please schedule a visit to your physician, please, ASAP. I plan on it. I do plan on it. Belfast Bob Voltaire says, something didn't tell me, Mad Mac, but where you like, share, reply, etc., all gone weird. As I guess FK is abbreviation for fuck. Maybe. Kiki Street says RSB is fascist propaganda news. RSB. I don't know if I've heard of them. Nick Rich 1055. I am about 35 minutes behind. Jolie says, I actually watched the game. Dog, I don't generally watch sports, but Truckatron has inspired me. I was bored as shit the first half. No. You shouldn't be bored. You should appreciate all aspects of the game. Pitching duels are part of the game. I really resent the fact when people say that only they say the same thing in football too. Defense and stopping teams from scoring to me is just as compelling as, and actually high scoring games can get kind of boring to me in football. But you should appreciate the fact that those two starting pitchers for the Phillies and the Dodgers were absolutely fucking dealing. They were pitching like lights out, man. So that kind of thing always bugs me when people are like, it's only exciting when there's scoring and shit. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm a fan of the sport, you know, and so I appreciate all aspects: offense, defense, pitching, you know, everything. Let's see. Owen says, I have no idea why. And yes, from evangelical to Fox News and Facebook, my in-laws have been a lost cause. I have tried and tried. Yeah, there's really, yeah, at some point you got to just go, okay, I've tried. I'm done. I'm done, son. Josh says DPD had to get a physical for his recent truck license. Yeah, I've gotten the physicals. And you know, so I did get that. Yeah, to keep my, I have to do it every year since I'm on a CPAP. I have to do it every year, and basically it's pretty basic. I mean, they take blood and urine, but I guess they're mainly checking for drugs. So I don't know if anything else, you know, would show up if there was something else. And I don't know if they detect what they detect. I know they're basically doing that just to check for drugs, you know, illegal drugs or whatever. So they take blood and urine. They take your they just do like your blood pressure, and they do, what else do they do? And then they just do a little series of, you know, like your reflex thing. They see if you can touch. They tell you to touch your toes or do the best you can. You know, they want to test for balance, like see if you can still, you know, stand on one foot without falling over and shit like that, which I can. So it's a pretty rudimentary exam. Is rudimentary the right word? It's pretty basic, you know. I probably should get something a little more, you know, testing for, you know, like cancer screenings. I should do that. They don't do that with your medical certification. But yeah, so I do need to do something a little more intensive. Is that the word? I don't know. You know what I mean. But I have, yeah, every year I've been getting just your basic, really basic physical exam. Twisted Nerve Painting says a physical. I haven't had one of those in over 25 years. Yeah, I do it every year. It was every 2 years, but then when I went on the CPAP, which has been quite a while now. It's been like 5 years or so or longer. I've had to do it every year. When you're on the CPAP, they make you do it every year. Yeah, they take your weight and your height and all that stuff. I guess they can figure out your BMI and everything. Oh, that's right. So Kiki Street says Canada's Toronto Blue Jays are up 2-0 versus Trump's favorite team, the Yankees. Yeah, the Yankees weren't looking so good. I looked the other night. The score was like, it was at one point I think it was like 12-0, and then Yankees put 7 on the board and still lost. I think the final was 12-7. But you never know; they might come back. But David Dog says, yeah, Sheehan did a great job, and they took him out too soon. Yeah, Sheehan was doing really great. He was dealing. I mean, I can kind of see why they took him out because they want to. you know, they want to save these arms as much as possible for the rest of the games. And maybe the thinking is, okay, you know, there is wear and tear and fatigue and all that kind of stuff. You would think that these guys are young enough and healthy enough that pitching an extra inning wouldn't kill the guy, but you know, I don't know. Mr. Spock says virtual protesting is the future. Show the area that's being protested, then virtually put all the people protesting there. Show live on the internet with key VIPs speaking. Anyone globally speak out. I am mid-thread because I am skipping down and I'm kind of needle dropping. So I am just plucking things out of here. Like Richard says, Hoyt Wilhelm had a great knuckleball. I've heard. I never saw him pitch. I think he pitched back in the 40s and 50s. All right, skipping down and needle dropping. Oh, wow, I'm way over 2 hours. Gee, many Christmas. I had no idea. Sandy Full says the Giants are the New York Giants. Well, they're the football team. The baseball team is San Francisco. Mr. Bob Newell's here. I can't hear you. Mr. Bob Newell, I'm running low on new material. Yeah, so I've noticed. Well, take a little time, write some stuff down, get some new stuff out there, you know. Mr. Bob Newell, did you eat breakfast? I had a breakfast one of those little biscuit breakfast sandwiches with like bacon and eggs and cheese on a biscuit, which is all right. Some coffee, and then I had some little mini donuts that I chomped down. Skipping down and needle dropping because we're well over 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours. So I should probably try to get to the end here. There's a lot of, looks like some pot talk going on, some pot growing talk, pot horticulture talk going on. So I see that. I do see that going on, which is fine. You guys are free to talk about that if you want to. And maybe some fishing. We got Lug Dragons here. Hey, Lug Dragon, thanks for coming on in and hanging out with us for a bit. Lug Dragon says, I was fishing for trout, not catfish, but yes, I get your point. Catfish are stupid. So that's total mid-thread conversation that I just plucked out there. And, Danny Pomeroy's here. Hey, Danny, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Danny says, all that's needed is Medicare for all. Americans pay the highest healthcare prices in the world. The lobbyists are sticking billions in Congress pockets. Last decade is why our healthcare is so FK up today. So fucked up today. Which is kind of what I was talking about the lobbyists. Yep. Getting involved here. Let's see. DPD 5844 says they hate the idea of anything being free or affordable to anyone except themselves and their donors. However, they do seem to forget who pays for their health care and their families. They do, don't they? Danny Pomeroy says, we don't need Trump care every time you use it. Dig deeper. It's going to cost you higher out of pocket with no vaccines. Laughing my ass off. Yeah, there is no Trump care. Trump care is you're on your own. Josh says this chat keeps getting better. Laughing out loud, we went from horticulture to fishing without missing a beat. Yeah. Christina and Sun Go Squad says, I hadn't gone to the doctor for 10 years except for the heart doctor. I was having heart palpitations. Stress did it. I don't have that job anymore, but the last 3 years gone downhill, had to go. Well, I hope you're okay. I hope everything's going okay. Luck Dragon says, this is why nobody hates Dolly Parton's husband, because he is a F genius. Oh, there was no question mark at that one. Julie says, sorry, Chugger John, the first half of that game was torture for me. You didn't appreciate the great pitching? You know, do you realize how hard it is for those guys to not give up hits against a championship caliber team? I mean, what are you looking for? That way, I appreciate that much more when the big hit happens or the hits happen. Then I appreciate it all that much more because I realize how difficult it is. If they're just hitting bombs every at bat, and it looks like batting practice or it looks like the home run derby, that's pretty boring to me. I don't want a home run derby in a game. I mean, maybe every now and then, like if it's during the regular season, it's a 162 game season, so you're going to have some games that are like a home run derby, and that's fine. And those are fun. I wouldn't want that every night. I like the fact that with baseball and really with almost any sport, you never know what's going to happen. Even in football, sometimes it's a 10-9 score. Sometimes it's 45-38 or whatever, barn burner. So I like the fact that I appreciate what high scoring games, low scoring games, pitchers duels, big offensive output. I appreciate all of it, and I like the fact that not every game is a big 12-10 or something like that. That would get boring if every game was just there's another home run, there's another home run, there's another triple. I mean, when it's mixed up like that with the low scoring, and then they score, that's what makes it exciting. If every inning was just they're scoring 4 or 5 runs every inning, that would get boring. That would be laughable. That'd be like, oh my God, what is this? Little League? Let's see. Anna Moore says Bernie Sanders has been advocating for single-payer health care for years, but the lobbyists won't have leverage in Washington. Yep. Mr. Spock says pulled a Kramer and found a missing lobster trap during low tide. Been there for a while. Lobsters were eating each other. One was missing a claw. False bottom air tank comes in handy. Big lobsters. Wow. Did you eat them? James Jaramillo says, look, Dragon, that being the case, he sure as hell isn't one behind all of the shit we have going on right now. I'm mid-thread, guys. I'm totally mid-thread. Christina Sun Ghost Squad says, thank goodness they didn't ask me to stand on one foot. I would have fell over. Anyway, well, and that's to be a driver. Friday I'm going for an MRA. Fingers crossed that they find out what's going with me finally. Yeah, I hope they do. I hope they find out what's going on with you, Christina. But yeah, I have to do that to be a driver, to be a taxi driver even. So that's why they have these balance tests and stuff, I'm just sort of skipping down. Jolie says, I do like Brandon Marsh of the Phillies, though, because he looks like a total hippie. Let's all sit back and watch John's head explode. I kid. Go Dodgers. Love you, John. Hey, you can like the Phillies, and you can like a guy because you think he looks like a hippie or whatever. But that affects me less than the thing about it being boring. About good pitching being boring. Anyhow, Sandy Foles says the Jaguars had beat Kansas City 31-28. Yes, they did beat them. I was going back and forth. I was watching the I guess it was the Milwaukee Cubs game and the football game, and I was going back and forth on those. And so I saw the last touchdown the Jaguars got, and how they went up with I think there was still 28 seconds to go or something, and they won. And I was glad they won because I'm not really a Chiefs fan at all. Not that I'm a Jaguars fan, but I'm certainly not a Chiefs fan. So it's kind of good to see the Jaguars win and beat the Chiefs. All right, skipping down, needle dropping. Belfast Bob says 3 brains, 4 hearts, 8 arms. Like, whoa. Total needle drop. I have no idea what you're talking about. Luck Dragon says A's fans, so do not think I am happy about that. Again, needle dropping. Not happy about the move. Maybe they are moving to Vegas, and the only reason that I'm happy about that is I'm just hoping that they will get the Dodgers for interleague play, and I'll come and watch the Dodgers. But I'm not an A's fan. But if the Dodgers come here, I will definitely try to go to a Dodgers game. If they're scheduled, and it's interleague, so you never know. There's no guarantee that they're. I mean, eventually they will, but it's like, who knows when it will be. Jolie says, I actually dozed off for about 20 minutes during the game, woke up, still no score. You're just not a baseball fan. That's cool. I get it. Damon Dog, have you thought about going live during the World Series? No, not really, because I just want to enjoy the game. And I just feel like if I was live, it would be too much of a distraction. I want to enjoy watching the game. But is that something you guys would want? Basically, it would be. I don't think I could point the camera at the TV because I think I would get some sort of copyright thing. So it would be just me watching the game, and I'm not really going to watch the chat all that much. So I don't know. Is that something you guys would want? And I guess it would be a good way for you guys, because I know you guys, I think, like just coming in and chatting amongst yourselves more than anything. So I don't know. I didn't really think of it though, because I didn't think that'd be a good thing. Lug Dragon, IP on jellyfish. Christina Sungos says, Jolie, yeah, I don't know what I like about it, but I always like going there too. So I don't know. Oh, something about roller derby. It seems like it might be exciting, like roller derby. Oh, let's see if I can go back. Christina Sungos says, I like hockey only. It's fast, it's easy to understand, and the reps are not so stuck up. Are you talking about the refs maybe? I like the penalty box and the Zamboni. Okay. I've gone to one hockey game. I thought it was pretty cool, like one NHL game. And that was years and years ago. I went to a Kings game back in the 90s. I thought it was fun. It was exciting. I could see how people could get into it. To me, it seemed kind of like football on ice skates in a way. There was a lot of hard hitting, a lot of slamming people into the side and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of exciting, I guess, but just not really into it. I would like to go to at least one game here before if I ever move out of here. Someday I'll probably move. While I'm here, I would like to go. I haven't gone to a Golden Knights game yet. I'd like to go to at least one before I move out of here. Before I move back to California, which at some point I think I will. It might not be this year, but probably within the next couple of years, I'll probably end up going back to California. I think. I don't know. We'll see. TPD5040 says, TJ, I know that I'm a bit nosy, but I was wondering, do you have a lady friend? And if not, have you considered dating again? Perhaps on reputable dating site. This came to when I saw The Golden Bachelor. Is that what it is? The Golden, I guess it's Bachelor. No, I don't have a lady friend. And I'm not looking for one. I'm not really, it's not a top priority of mine right now. So I know there's a lot of people that really, really have to be in relationships, and they just don't feel. I don't know what it is. Some people just feel like they have to always be in a relationship. I like being. To me, not being in a relationship is like total independence. I don't like. I guess maybe it's just me. I guess I'm just kind of an asshole. I don't like putting up with other people's drama. I don't like putting up with other people's shit. And there's always, when you're in a relationship, there's always going to be drama and there's always going to be shit. And I know I'm sounding really negative, and with that type of an attitude, then it's no wonder I'm not in a relationship. But it's not something I need. Like some people I think really need that companionship and whatever, and I don't really feel that I do. So, I don't know if that answered your question. Well, I guess it did answer your question. But thanks for asking. Yeah. Belfast Bob, Octopus TJ. Why are we talking about octopuses now? Christina Son Ghost Squad says, laughing out loud, I had a screenshot that TJ with a bow on his head yesterday. Oh. You're the one that did that. Jolie says, we don't have MLB team in Indiana. I'm new to watching baseball. Trucker John, maybe someday I'll get there and understand and appreciate it more. We talk about sports a lot here. I'm trying. All right, Jolie. All right. I was always told that baseball is the national pastime. And okay, I'm going to just stop right there. I appreciate you giving it the old college try, Jolie. I appreciate you. Belfast Bob Voltaire says, when I go to the hospital, doctors said pee don't work, for fuck's sake, so people's urine all over me was more dangerous than jellyfish stings. Laughing out loud. Christina and Son Ghost Squad says, I went to 26 home games for the Rangers one year when I was like 16, maybe 17 years old. And yeah, I just love hockey. Yeah, it's a looks like a fun, exciting sport. If you want excitement, now hockey is pretty low scoring usually, right? It's usually like 4-3 or 5-4 or 3-2 or whatever. So it's kind of low scoring. If it's scoring that you find exciting, but it is kind of exciting in just all the guys skating around, and these guys are big dudes, and they're on skates, and they're like ramming into each other and slamming each other into the boards and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's what makes it exciting, because the scoring is kind of low. If it's scoring that makes it exciting, then you might go a long time where there's no scoring, but then that's why once they do score, everyone's like, yeah, because it's a really big deal. It makes it a big deal. Mad Max says having a partner is not finding the one you think you can live with; it's finding the one you can't live without. And I think I'm done looking. I mean, I don't look. I've never really looked. I've always just let things come to me. Pretty much. Even when I was younger, I always had this philosophy of like, it'll kind of just find me, like love or whatever, and then if you look for it, you don't find it, and then when you stop looking for it, you usually find it. Now I haven't found it lately, but I think it's because I'm not out there. I'm not out. I don't go to clubs. I don't go to bars. I don't go to church. I really don't go anywhere other than I'm in this apartment or I'm in my cab. So I'm not out socializing. I don't socialize, and I'm fine with it. I don't. I don't. I don't need any of that crap. I'm not 30 anymore, so I'm not going to go out bar hopping or whatever. And these dating sites, I've gone on them. I've checked them out. And, I'm sure I could get a date on a dating site. I could do that. I'm 100% positive. I could go on a dating site and start dating, finding women to date, and I would probably like one, and one would probably like me, and I just don't feel like it. Just don't feel like it. Josh says I'm happily married and live separately from my wife for work reasons. It's lovely because we don't get up each other's asses, laughing out loud. Yeah, some of those type of relationships can actually work pretty well, and I think you appreciate each other much more when you are together. Christina Son Ghost Squad says, laughing out loud, I did nothing but screenshot it and share it with Fancy. Yeah, because you said you were going to wear a bow every time she came in. Well, it was a joke because I obviously didn't wear it when she was in earlier. But yeah, and then I saw Fancy posted it on Facebook. But that's fine. It's fun. It's just fun. Damon Dog says, I'm happily divorced and love being alone. There you go, Damon Dog, another like-minded person there, I think. David Dog says, I did see the both thing on Fancy's channel. Christina Sun Go Squad says, not always. You can get a hat trick, which is where you know somebody scores 3 times in one game. Lately, because the players aren't as good as they used to be, the scores are a little low. I think they've always been low scoring. I know hat trick has been around since the beginning of hockey. But I think hockey has traditionally been a low scoring game compared to other sports. Same way with soccer. Soccer is pretty low scoring. Okay, guys, look, we are way late. 2 hours, 47 minutes. I guess I should call it a day. Thanks for hanging in there. A lot of people left. I guess it just got too boring. A lot of people left. But tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow will be Wednesday, 11 a.m. Pacific time zone. We'll be on right after House Sparks show, and Damon Dog pitch clock has sped up the game for baseball. Yeah, I think it has helped a lot with speeding up the game. Christina Son says, well, I used to have a coworker, John, who met both her husbands at the supermarket. So just go stand online in the supermarket, buy some milk. I don't want to meet anybody. That's the thing. I'm not looking for anybody. I don't need to go to the store. In fact, that's another thing I've been doing. I've been getting home delivery lately. But I don't need to go meet my future wife at the store. David Dog says, take care. Going over to Boston Brian. Talk about, well, I was, I'm not gonna say anything bad. I should not say anything bad about other people's shows. Anyhow, DBD 5840 says maybe you could have Friday personal talk day. What does that even mean? Personal talk day. Mad Max Lobby Craney, Belfast Voltaire says, not boring TJ, was all good, my friend. Bye TJ, chat and mods. Thanks, Belfast Bob. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you again tomorrow. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. right after the Hal Sparks show. And I think since we're so late, I'm just going to end the show with no special guests, no words of wisdom. I think I'm just going to end it and bend it. No, that didn't make sense. And just do the outro thing because I really, I don't know, I'm tired and I'm thirsty and I'm getting hungry again. So I don't really feel like, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't feel like doing anything extra right now. I kind of just feel like going. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, there it is over there. Okay. What do you mean you don't feel like any special guest stars? I'm the guest star. I'm your special. What are you talking about? What you're too tired to bring me on, Trucker John? Are you tired? Oh, are you tired? You little. Oh, Trucker John's tired and hungry, and so he's gonna just end the show. Oh, talk about wimps. Come on, Trucker John. Get it together, man. Get it together. 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 All right. So Trucker John's a little tired and wimpy. I guess I could do the rest of the show. I guess I'll just take over. Trucker John, you go lay down. Take your little nappy. I'll do the important stuff. I'll tell everybody thank you very much for being here. You guys are awesome. All right. I can do this shit. We don't need Trucker John. I can push some buttons there. Thank you. Look at there. I can go, hey, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Come on, you guys. Hit the subscribe button. Trucker John's over there practically crying. He's on the couch crying and whimpering like a little baby because he says, I don't get enough subscriptions. I don't have enough subscribers. Well, too bad. It's too bad, isn't it? All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Make sure you do hit that like and subscribe and share button. Get the show out there. Once Trucker John starts crying, it's just a miserable mess of a thing around here. So try to get those subscriptions going for him. It seems to be the only thing that makes him happy. For God's sakes, I keep telling him, go out and get yourself a woman, for crying out loud, or at least go get laid or something. You're sitting here moping around just talking about subscriptions. There's something else you should be talking about. You should be talking about getting some poontang, for crying out loud. But all he talks about is subscriptions and subscriptions. And I'm like, God damn it, you're fucking a one-track record there. Go down to the library. There's probably some nice poontang down to the library, for crying out loud. Do they even have libraries, by the way, anymore? I'm not even sure. I think they do. I think they got libraries. Go down there. Swoop you up something, Trucker John. Jesus. Instead of just sitting on the couch going, geez, I wonder how many subscriptions I got today. Let me tell you something, Trucker John. There's a lot more to life than subscriptions. All right? There's a lot more to life. Go down and hang out at the AutoZone. I bet you can get you some nice poontang down there at the AutoZone. Right? Am I right, guys? Am I right? Yeah, get down there to the AutoZone. There's all kinds of beauties down there for you, Trucker John. All right? That's my pep talk for today. For Trucker John, moping around. Well, Trucker John, he's all right. He's fine. He'll be fine. You know, whatever, whatever. But he probably should get out a little more. He does. He does. Sometimes he's just in the apartment for days, and I'll come by. I'll check on him. I'm like, hey, did you get out of the house today at all? And he's like, no. And I'm like, dude, come on, you gotta get some sunshine at least. Get some sunshine on that pasty old white ass of yours. Get out there and get some sunshine at least. There's a park with a senior center right behind you. There might be some senior babes over there, huh? Huh, Trucker John? Did you think about that? There might be a whole bevy of senior babes right there, right behind you. And you're just moping around. And like Trucker John, or like Tough Cookie said, all I hear you talking about is, what do I got to do to get more subscriptions and more subscribers? And I'm like, dude, put it to rest. I'm like, go to the senior center, get you some of that senior poontang, as Tough Cookie would say, in the Tough Cookie vernacular. You know, I mean, I don't talk that way, but Tough Cookie did, so I thought I would, maybe. All right, I think Trucker John is too distraught. He's not going to do the words of wisdom. Today, I will do the words of wisdom. All right, guys? So here, get your pen and paper out, and we're going to do words of wisdom. And I think I know how to operate this thing. Because I was watching the playback, and it seems like whenever Trucker John does this, I don't know, he has some sort of technical difficulty or whatever. I don't know, but I think I could figure it out. All right, so guys, do your pen and paper out, and I will do Trucker John, you just sit down. I'm going to do the words of wisdom today, all right? You stay there on the couch. I will do the words of wisdom. All right, guys, so you ready for today's words of wisdom? Okay, so, guys, just remember, now, first of all, point number 1, it's usually a bullet list of things that we do for the words of wisdom, in case you were wondering. All right, so first thing.
Well, it's time to say goodbye. The show has come to an end. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. We'll have some fun times, hopefully nothing too bad. We might talk about war crimes. Might talk about Baghdad. I doubt we'll talk about door chimes. But if we did, I'd be only too glad. So hasta la vista, baby. The show is over, but could I ask you maybe to take a shower? No, that's not what I meant, but I couldn't think of anything to rhyme with over. Now my whole rhyming scheme is all screwed up. Oh shit, I should have stuck to truck driving, who I tried to kid. At least when I was out there driving, I could handle a skid. But doing this live stream, baby, has been a real kid. So I hope to see y'all again right here on the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna do it again and again, right here in the Trucker John live stream. Yeah, the Trucker John live stream. We're gonna come back and do it all again. No, this ain't no dream. This is where we win. Right goodbye. The show's coming in. But don't be sad, no, don't you cry. We're all gonna come back and meet again. Rolling down the highway in my rusty old rig. I'm a retired trucker, but my spirit's still big. Living in Vegas, where the lights never sleep. Broadcasting my thoughts for the world to keep. From politics to pop culture, I've got it all. Sharing my views, no matter how big or small. Talking about food, the movies and bugs. Shining a light on all the social issues. No shrugs, I've driven through the desert, seen the city so bright. But now I'm living in a different kind of fight. From my apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. My apartment in Las Vegas, I hold the key, exploring the world through my live stream for free. So you wanna take a trip down Paradise Road, but it ain't that pretty, it ain't paved with gold. Everybody's got the dirty little secrets, everybody's got some things unknown. But if you ain't real careful, baby, it'll cut you down to the bone. Under all those bright lights, you've gotta learn to ignore the glitter. It's all about fight or flight, and you don't wanna do either. So go on down to Paradise Road, it'll make you wish that you were young. But all it'll do is make you feel old and regret trading in your love for lust. It's all just a big charade, it's all just one big game, and it ain't about love. It's all about the thrills, it's about staying in the hunt, it's about going in for the kill. So head on down to Paradise Road, that's where your friends are now. They're the people that nobody knows, so go ahead and make your big show. So live it up on Paradise Road, just don't let anyone know. It'll be your dirty little secret, it'll be your guilty little pleasure. Living a secret that the whole world sees, hiding in plain sight among the scum and the thieves. It's so damn hard to ever be pleased. Everyone wants to live the good life, everybody wants a piece of paradise. But where would you run? Where would you hide? What would you do to buy a little more time? Grandiose dreams of happily ever after are really just another day's end. And when the sun goes down, you just lay there wondering, can you really do it all again? You're praying for one last shot, you're hoping for one last big win. Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Paradise Paradise Road is calling, so you better hurry along. Show's over, I'm out of here, folks. Bye.